The man opened the door, and inside was a narrow passage. He cautiously proceeded, and when he reached the end, he seemed to see something terrifying. Frightened, he immediately ran back, the intense friction nearly dislocating his shoulder. After catching his breath, he saw that no one had followed him, and then he bravely turned back to investigate. It was then that he clearly saw the body of the house's owner lying there. But strangely, the corpse hadn't decayed, nor was there any foul smell. He reached out and pinched the face, only to realize it was just a plastic statue. On top of the statue was a book titled The Invisible World. The man pushed the statue to the ground and began to study the contents of the book. The priceless painting he had been searching for was also right there in front of him. But at that moment, he couldn't be happy because he had already been trapped there for 30 days. The mental torture had nearly driven him to the brink of collapse. That day, he saw the janitor again on the surveillance camera, cleaning outside the door. He immediately seized the opportunity, pounding the door with a metal pot and shouting loudly. When the janitor didn't respond, he tried to slip a distress note out, but the door crack was too tight. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't push it through. The man despaired with each passing shout. The food was running low, and he had no choice but to turn to the goldfish. He made fish balls from the goldfish, and although they smelled strongly of fish, he swallowed them down to survive. He regained his determination, and aside from turning screws every day, he spent his spare time drawing on the wall. He even used the available materials to make clothes, indulging in his hobby of role-playing. However, unscrewing the bolts wasn't always smooth sailing. One time he accidentally fell, delaying his progress, but he didn't idle away the time, and instead kept looking for other solutions. He saw a sensor in the kitchen and immediately had a new idea. The next day, when the sun rose, he used a magnifying glass to focus the light onto some scraps of paper. Sure enough, after a short while, paper caught fire. Next, he made a torch and used the lit torch to aim at the sensor. Moments later, the fire triggered the sprinkler system, and water started spraying throughout the house. The man thought this might attract attention, but once again, when he shouted for help at the door, no one noticed him. He tried to check the surveillance footage, but after the water damaged the TV, it was burned out. After this incident, the man realized there was no shortcut. He would have to unscrew the bolts one by one. In the end, after tireless effort, he managed to unscrew all 12 bolts. Before leaving, he left a letter for the house owner. He didn't take the painting, but left on his own.